Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Nweboyin Oyeka Peter to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Nweboyin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Peter Onyekachi Nweboyin, representing the good people of Ebonyi Senatorial Zone of Ebonyi State. Mr. President, I rise to move for the leave of this chamber for me to lead the debate on the Raw Material Act of 2022 Amendment Bill. I so move, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill, which is the Raw Material Processing and Local Production Protection Bill 2024. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you may recall that the bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, the 15th day of October 2024. Distinguished colleagues, as Nigeria seeks sustainable economic growth, the introduction of the Raw Material Processing and Local Production Protection Bill promises to be a transformative initiative. This legislation aims to boost local manufacturing, enhance job creation, and reduce overdependency on importation, and mandating, I repeat, and mandating that no raw material be exported outside Nigeria without undergoing at least 30% processing domestically. This bill, if enacted into law, will regulate importation of raw materials readily available for local production. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, promoting local processing to a minimum of 30% or more will add value to our economy, particularly to our Naira, and will also encourage innovation within our local industries, as this initiative will lead to a significant increase in our local industries. Distinguished colleagues, Mr. President, this bill, if enacted into law, will shield Nigerian manufacturers from foreign competition by regulating the importation of raw materials that can be produced locally. Distinguished colleagues, in all, this bill will create more favorable environment for domestic companies to thrive and will foster national pride and economic independence like other developed countries of the world like China, United States, and what have you. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity.
The Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me first of all commend the sponsor of this bill, Senator Nweboyin, for his thoughts and innovation towards rebounding and re-energizing our economy. This is a wonderful initiative, a very, very good initiative, worthy of commendation. Mr. President, day in, day out, raw materials are exported out of this country to develop other economies, whereas we have the capacity, the human capital, the technical resources to a kind of art on these raw materials, to process these raw materials. And by not doing so, we are undermining our economy while allowing for the promotion of other economies. But once this bill is passed, it will now be mandatory that these raw materials must be processed here, at least 30%. This will energize the economy by providing jobs, by promoting our real sector, our research tower will be energized. It will be more up and running. It's very straightforward. Very, very, very straightforward. Several industries will emerge because it will now be mandatory that you don't engage this lazy attitude of taking raw materials outside the shores of this country. That this raw material must be processed here. Value addition should take place. And once you do that, more factories will be opened, more jobs will be created, more revenue will accrue to the government, people will be engaged, the economy will become buoyant. Very short, very straightforward, Mr. President. I therefore urge my colleagues to support this bill because it will do good to our economy. It will help our economy. It will re-energize our economy. Our economy will become more diversified. Mr. President, please, I urge my colleagues please to support this bill. I so submit.
The whip of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mammed Tyo. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. First and foremost, I want to wholly adopt all the submissions made by the Deputy Senate President in support of the bill as mine, and further add that this bill is novel, germane, and very, very relevant, having regard to our present economic situation and the drive as encapsulated in the Renewed Hope agenda to attain a $1 trillion economy. If we are going to achieve that lofty objective of attaining a $1 trillion economy, then there is need for us to strengthen our exports by value addition with a view to earning the much needed dollars for the purpose of leapfrogging our drive towards the attainment of that goal. In addition to that, Mr. President, distinguished senators, if this bill eventually sees the light of the day, the 30% value addition that this bill proposes will go a long way on creating employment for our teeming unemployed youth, with all the attendant advantage of reducing the problem of insecurity that has been brought as a result of youth unemployment. So this bill is novel and it's in tandem with our economic objectives, and I urge my colleagues to support the second reading of this. Thank you.
Senator Ashiru.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill on raw material is a great thing we need at this particular time. When I was reading through the bill, I observed the 30% value addition in it. And I asked the promoter of the bill, why 30%? In his own wisdom, he told me that the 30% is just the beginning of a process, that it is easier for us to achieve a 30% value addition now. And subsequently, he is with the opinion that in future, 30% will be raised to 40, to 50, until we are able to achieve rich productivity, converting our raw material into usable products. And the value of this so obvious. We are going to provide more employment for our people. We are going to generate more FX. A lot of change will be achieved, productive change we have achieved through this process. So I stand to support the bill in totality and to urge our colleague to quickly move so that we can do a second reading and quickly pass the bill. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving us this opportunity.
Is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? Anybody opposed to it? Anybody opposed to it?